There is a moment every broke person experiences that nobody talks about. You open your banking app, stare at your balance, and feel this specific kind of hopeless. Not dramatic hopeless, quiet hopeless. The kind where you do the math in your head for the 100th time and realize that saving any meaningful amount of money at your current rate will take so long it barely feels worth starting. And then someone tells you that once you hit $10,000, the next 10,000 comes twice as fast, and something in you wants to throw your phone across the room because that advice assumes you have $10,000. You do not have $10,000. You're trying to figure out how to save $1,000, and right now that feels approximately as realistic as saving $1 million. Here is what I need you to understand before anything else. That hopeless feeling is not weakness. It is not laziness. It is not evidence that you are bad with money. It is your brain doing something specific and documented and completely predictable that happens to every human being who tries to save money from zero. And once you understand exactly what your brain is doing and why, the entire game changes. That is what this video is about. Not motivation, not generic tips about cutting lattes. The actual psychology and mathematics behind why your first $1,000 is a completely different battle than everything that comes after it, and what specifically happens in your brain the moment you cross that threshold. Let's go. The enemy is inside the building. Most financial advice treats saving money as a math problem. Income minus expenses equals savings. Increase income or decrease expenses, and the number goes up. Simple. Except it is not simple, because if it were simple, the average American would not have less than $1,000 saved for emergencies, while simultaneously spending more than that annually on things they cannot specifically remember buying. The real problem is not mathematical, it is neurological. Your brain was built for a world that disappeared roughly 10,000 years ago. In that world, the humans who survived were the ones who consumed available resources immediately. Storing food for winter worked sometimes. Getting eaten by a predator while you were busy storing it worked 0 times. The survivors were the ones with a powerful bias toward immediate reward. That bias is still fully operational in your brain right now. Neuroscientists call it temporal discounting. Your brain assigns dramatically higher value to rewards available immediately versus identical rewards available in the future. $50 spent on dinner tonight feels genuinely more valuable to your brain than $50 sitting in a savings account earning interest for future you. This is not a character flaw. This is millions of years of survival programming expressing itself. And when you try to override it with willpower and spreadsheets lose. Not occasionally, consistently. Because you are bringing a calculator to a biological gunfight. The stories you inherited without knowing. Underneath the evolutionary wiring, there is something even more personal sabotaging your financial life. Psychologists call them money scripts. I call them the financial programming your parents accidentally installed in you before you were old enough to have an opinion about it. If you grew up in a household where money meant tension, where bills caused arguments, where financial stress was the background noise of your childhood, your brain made a connection it has never broken. Money equals anxiety. So accumulating money unconsciously feels like accumulating anxiety. Your brain resists it to protect you. If you heard "we cannot afford that" enough times as a child, your brain did not just record a fact about your family's finances, it recorded a belief about your identity. People like us do not have savings. People like us live paycheck to paycheck. That belief runs silently in the background of every financial decision you make today. If money was never discussed in your home at all, you probably developed a vague discomfort around wanting financial security, as if caring about money makes you materialistic or selfish or somehow disloyal to where you came from. None of these scripts are true. All of them are making real decisions in your real financial life right now. And most people spend their entire lives executing instructions from programming they received before age 10 without ever questioning who wrote the code. Why your brain treats different money differently. Here's something that will immediately explain several confusing things about your own spending behavior. Your brain does not treat all money as equal. Money you earned through regular work feels heavy, significant, subject to careful consideration, but money that arrives unexpectedly, a tax refund, a bonus, cash from selling something, money found in an old coat pocket, your brain instantly reclassifies that as different money, lighter money, money with different rules attached to it. Psychologists call it the house money effect, and it's why most people blow every financial windfall they receive while maintaining genuine discipline about their regular income. The math is identical. Your brain's treatment of it is completely different. This invisible categorization system keeps millions of people financially stuck, despite earning enough money to build real security. Every dollar is the same dollar. Your brain steadfastly refuses to believe this, and until you consciously override this tendency, every unexpected dollar you receive will continue disappearing into expenses you can't quite account for. What crosses over at $1,000? Now, here's where the story changes entirely. Psychologists measure something called self-efficacy, your genuine belief in your capacity to succeed at a specific thing. Not motivation, not optimism, actual evidence-based belief built from personal history. When you have zero saved, $10,000 doesn't feel difficult. It feels fictional. Your brain has no evidence that you are the kind of person who accumulates money, so it doesn't seriously try. It goes through occasional motions, but it doesn't commit. Your first $1,000 shatters that. Not because $1,000 is financially life-changing. It's not. But because it's proof. Your brain now has evidence, real, documented personal evidence that you can override the immediate reward impulse and accumulate something. That evidence rewrites something fundamental about how your brain understands your own identity. Research consistently shows that people who successfully save their first $1,000 are dramatically more likely to continue saving than people starting from zero. The income didn't change. The expenses didn't change. The identity changed. And identity changes behavior more reliably than motivation ever does. You stopped being someone trying to save money. You became someone who saves money. The distinction sounds like semantics. The downstream financial consequences of it span decades. The mathematics that join the psychology. Let's look at exactly how the numbers shift as you build from nothing. Saving $100 monthly, your first $1,000 takes 10 months. 10 months of constant friction. 10 months of saying no to things repeatedly. 10 months of visible sacrifice with an invisible reward. Your brain hates every minute of this phase because it's getting nothing back yet. But now compound growth enters the equation. At a conservative 7% annual return, your second $1,000 takes approximately 9 months. Small difference, but the direction has changed. Third $1,000 takes 8.5 months. Fourth $1,000 under 8. By your 10th $1,000, each additional $1,000 arrives in roughly 6 months. At $10,000 invested at 7%, your portfolio generates $700 annually on its own. Almost 2 months of your contributions appearing for free. At $20,000, that passive generation reaches $1,400 per year. At $50,000, it exceeds $3,500 annually, nearly $300 every month, arriving without a single additional action from you. You built a silent business, one that works every hour of every day without requiring your presence, your effort, or your attention, built from $100 a month and a decision to start and stay. The flip that most people never reach. Here's the part of this story that financial content almost never reaches because most people stop engaging before it becomes relevant to them. The psychology doesn't just get easier as your savings grow. It reverses direction entirely. In the beginning, your brain frames every saved dollar as a loss, something you had that you're giving up. Every sacrifice feels present and real. Every future reward feels distant and abstract. But somewhere around the point where compound growth becomes visible, where you open your account and see money appearing that you didn't put there, something fundamental shifts in how your brain frames the entire situation. Saving stops feeling like deprivation. Spending starts feeling like deprivation. You start feeling the loss not when you save, but when you spend on things that don't matter. You check your investment balance with the same anticipation you used to feel opening a package. The psychological reward transfers from spending to accumulating. The behavior changes because the reward changes, not because the willpower got stronger. That transfer is available to anyone, but you have to stay in the process long enough to discover it. Most people quit 2 months before it starts. The real cost of small, consistent decisions. $1,300. That is what the average person spends annually on coffee purchased outside the home. Invested at 7% annual returns for 20 years, that $1,300 becomes over $53,000. Not because coffee is a moral failing, because small, consistent decisions compound in both directions with equal mathematical indifference. Every habitual expense that delivers temporary satisfaction but no lasting value is not just costing you that dollar amount. It is costing you the compounded future value of that dollar amount. And future value over long time horizons makes present cost look almost comically small by comparison. This is not an argument for eliminating every pleasure from your life. It is an argument for understanding that your daily financial decisions are not neutral. Every single one is either compounding toward the life you want or quietly compounding away from it. The complete picture. Your first $1,000 is uniquely brutal because you are fighting ancient evolutionary wiring that prioritizes immediate reward, childhood money scripts running unconsciously in the background, a brain that categorizes different money differently and spends the light categories freely, zero proof that you are capable of accumulating savings, no compound growth working alongside your contributions yet, and the full psychological weight of every sacrifice feeling permanent and real. Your next $10,000 is fundamentally different because your brain now has documented personal evidence that you can do this. Compound growth has begun contributing alongside your efforts. Your identity has shifted in a way that changes behavior without requiring constant willpower. Momentum has replaced resistance as the primary force in your financial life, and the psychological flip either has happened or is approaching. The gap between those two experiences is crossed by surviving the first brutal months, long enough to reach the threshold where everything changes. Most people quit in month 4 or 5. They look at their balance and decide it is not working. They do not realize the transformation is not in the balance yet. It is in what the balance does to their brain the moment it exists at all. Your first $1,000 will not make you rich. It will make you into someone who builds wealth, and that identity is worth infinitely more than the money itself. Start, stay, let the math take over.